Art, listen to me, my friend. You're running around, scaring people out of their skins, painting the town in, well, let's call it creative colors. But what's all this really doing for you? I mean, deep down, is it bringing you peace? Is it making your soul feel alive? Or are you just chasing that next thrill, that next look of terror in someone's eyes, without ever really thinking, what comes next? You see, Art, all those stunts you pull, they're short-term. You give people a shock, sure, but then what? You're like a bad dream that just keeps looping, never letting anyone wake up. But my child, let me tell you something. There's a different kind of power in making people smile. Not the creepy, forced smile you usually go for. No, I mean a genuine, heartfelt, I feel good inside kind of smile. The kind where someone looks at you, not out of fear, but out of warmth, of appreciation. That's where the real magic happens. You've got it in you, you know. All that energy, all that creativity. It's not evil at the core. You're not born bad. You're just, let's say, misguided. But I'm here to help, and I'm not leaving until we've figured this out together. First off, you gotta stop relying on fear to connect with people. Fear is cheap, Art. It's easy. It doesn't take much to scare someone. Pop out from behind a corner with a wild grin and a sharp object, and bam, fear. But that connection you get from it, that fades. It's hollow. What if instead you tried connecting with people in a way that makes them remember you? Not because they need therapy afterward, but because you made their day better. You've got the skills, my friend. The world doesn't need another horror show. What it needs is a bit more light. You could be that light. Now I know what you're thinking, but Jesus, scaring people is my thing. I'm good at it. And yeah, you're not wrong. You've honed that craft. But think about this. What if you redirected that talent? You've got impeccable timing. Every horror fan can agree on that. Your silence, your creepy stillness, the way you catch people off guard. You're a natural performer. Imagine if you used those skills for good. You could still surprise people, but with kindness, with compassion. Show up when someone's having a tough day, and instead of a scare, give them something they never expected, a little bit of hope. There's something I think you've forgotten along the way, Art, and that's empathy. You've distanced yourself so much from people that you've lost touch with what they really feel. You see them as playthings, pawns in your game, but they're not just background characters in your life. They're like you. They have pain, they have fear, they have hope. You can tap into that without terrifying them. Remember when you cornered that poor guy in the alley last year? Yeah, I remember. I was watching. The look in his eyes wasn't just fear, Art. It was pleading. He wasn't begging for his life because he was afraid to die. He was begging for understanding, for connection. He was asking you silently to see him as more than just your next target. That's the thing about fear. You blind yourself to what's really going on in people's hearts. You stop seeing them as people, and they stop seeing you as anything but a monster. That's no way to live, Art. That's no way to leave your mark on the world. Now imagine this. Picture yourself walking into a room, not with your usual menacing swagger, but with calm, with intention, with love. Yeah, I said it, love. What if, instead of plotting how to terrify the first person you lay eyes on, you thought, how can I make this person feel a little less alone today? Maybe you don't even have to say anything. Sometimes just being there for someone is enough. You've got a presence, Art. People feel it. Use that for something better. You don't always need to be the scariest guy in the room to be the most powerful. Power comes from the way you make people feel. And I'm telling you, making someone feel safe, feel seen, feel cared for, that's the real power. Fear only lasts a moment. Compassion? That sticks with people. Let me give you a practical tip. Start small. You don't need to reinvent yourself overnight. I know you've been on this path for a while now. Just start with one act of kindness. Next time you're about to pull a trick on someone, stop yourself. Instead, try offering them something different. Maybe it's a compliment, and I mean a real one, not a sarcastic one. Or maybe it's just a smile, a normal one, not your usual unsettling grin. See how they react. See how you feel. There's a famous line, art. Love your neighbor as yourself. You've been skipping that one, huh? It's okay. We all miss the mark sometimes. But I'm telling you, if you start loving people the way you're supposed to, not only will they see you differently, but you'll start seeing yourself differently too. You're not just the monster they think you are. You've got a soul in there, a soul that's capable of great things. I know you've done some bad stuff, Art. I'm not here to sugarcoat it. You've left a trail of fear and pain, and yeah, it's not pretty. But redemption isn't off the table for you. It's never off the table. I specialize in second chances, and third chances, and fourth, and fifth. Hey, I'm pretty forgiving, but you've got to want it. You've got to make the choice. You're standing at a crossroads right now. You can keep going down this dark path, scaring the daylights out of everyone you meet, or you can take a different road. It's a harder road for sure. It's not as flashy, not as instant, but it's the one that leads to real fulfillment. Remember that woman you chased through the parking garage? Yeah, her. She's still having nightmares. You don't want to be the cause of that kind of suffering, do you? What if instead, you were the reason she slept better at night? What if, instead of being her worst memory, you became her best one? That's the kind of legacy you could leave behind. You've got the power to be remembered for something good, Art. Don't waste it. And speaking of legacies, what do you want yours to be? Do you want to be known as the clown who made people too scared to leave their houses? Or do you want to be remembered as someone who made a difference? Someone who turned his life around when nobody thought it was possible? That's a powerful story right there. You could inspire others, people who feel trapped in their own darkness, to believe that they can change too. You could show them that it's never too late to step into the light. Here's the thing, Art. Evil never wins. It might feel like you're on top right now, but the thing about evil is that it eats away at you. Slowly, over time, it takes away your joy, your peace, your purpose. You're left with nothing but emptiness. But good builds you up. It fills you. It connects you with others in ways you never thought possible. That's the secret nobody tells you. Good is stronger than evil, always. It doesn't scream as loud, doesn't make as much of a scene, but it's there, quietly working its way into hearts, into lives, changing things for the better. So let's talk about how you can start. You've got your routines, I know. You like to pop up in unexpected places, give people a good scare. But instead of scaring them, how about you surprise them in a different way? Show up when they least expect it and offer them something good. Show up when they least expect it and offer them something good. Imagine the look on someone's face if, instead of jumping out of the shadows with a sinister grin, you handed them a flower. Just one small act of kindness, something pure, something that reminds people the world isn't as dark as it sometimes seems. You could still surprise them, still make them feel something powerful, but instead of fear, it would be joy. Now, I'm not saying you have to change who you are at the core. I know that being Art the Clown is part of your identity. But think about it. The best clowns don't just make people scream. They make them laugh. They remind people not to take life too seriously. You can still be a performer. You can still be unpredictable and mysterious. But instead of making people afraid to look behind them, you could make them excited to see what you'll do next. And here's the thing, Art. People love a good redemption story. You've been playing the villain for so long, but every great story has a twist. What if you were the one who surprised everyone by choosing to be good? Imagine the headlines. Art the Clown turns over a new leaf. People would be talking about it for years. You'd be legendary, not just for your past, but for the transformation. Villains who stay villains are forgettable, but a villain who finds the light, that's the stuff of legend. Think about your future, Art. All those people you've terrorized. Imagine how powerful it would be to go back to them, one by one, and make amends. That guy you chased down with the hacksaw, you'd knock on his door, not to finish what you started, but to apologize. Maybe you even bring him a cup of coffee or fix something around his house that's been broken for ages. You'd blow his mind. He wouldn't know what to think at first, but then he'd realize that you're not the same clown who haunted his nightmares. You've changed, and that change would ripple out, affecting not just him, but everyone around him.